Welcome to another edition of the pre-market PulseScan with yours truly, Dex the Algo Capitalist, aka the Vulcan, coming to you live from PulseWaveTrading.com, home of the world famous PulseWave price trigger reports that we place right in your hand each and every trading day. Did you miss me? I know you did. I know I left you high and dry. You didn't have a pre-market report or end of day report. I'm so sorry. Did I do that? Well, had mad things going on over here, so I was unable to do that. But I'm sure y'all don't mind because them post-wave price triggers have been on point. Yes, indeedy. See, that's why you got to subscribe. You got to go to PulseWaveTrading.com and subscribe to these reports so that if and when I am unable to post a video, you will know exactly what the game plan is before I even put one out. That's why the reports be on point, player. All right, so, man, we got a lot to talk about. Things have happened since I've been gone. You know, when the cat is away, the mice will play. Let's take a look at these overnight markets. So right now, you know, the job numbers came out. We'll go over that in a minute. But right now, the Dow is down 28 points at 27,838. You got the NASDAQ 100 down, up 68 points at 11,194 even. You got the E-mini S&P 500 down 3/4 of a point at 33.69 even. You got the Russell My Hustle down 2.5 points at 1577.20. And you got the mighty Bitcoin Futures Composite Index down $150, trading at 11,515 after topping out early this morning at 11,760. Nat gas unchanged, trading at $2.15. Crude oil off 10 cents at $42.57 a barrel. Long bond, those prices have been dropping. Trading at 178.26. That's 178 and 26 30-seconds, up 1/32. You got the gold futures down $10.80, trading at $1,938.20 an ounce. You got silver right now up 47 cents, trading at $26.45 off the highs of the session of $26.86. It should also be noted that even though we're trading at 1938 on the gold, its overnight high was 1952.80. All right, so gold has pulled back about $20 off of the overnight high. All right, so the U.S. dollar is down today, down 29 pips at 93.15, threatening to go back into the 92 handle. The overnight low so far is 93.01. Yeah, I told you. Everybody was so, oh, look how the dollar's rallying. I told you. I warned you. Euro dollar up 44 pips, 118.37. Pound sterling up 64 pips at 130.93. The Aussie is down 2 pips at 71.61. And we got the Canadian dollar off 19 pips at 132.31. We got the euro yen on fire up 73 pips at 126.70. And we got the dollar yen up 8 pips at 106.97. Kiwi right now is off 25 pips at 65.56. All right, the story so far in the nighttime is soybeans. Demand for food is up. Beans are rallying 10.5 points up to 893.5, trying to get back above that $9 mark. Corn on fire up 6.25 points at 333.5. Just so you know, corn is traditionally the smaller mover out of the three. Wheat right now is off 3/4 point at 490.5. It's also trying to inch back up to that $5 mark. You right about that, my man Frank in the house. He says, so even though you had no video, your pulse wave family still had all they needed to ride these pulse waves. You got that right. You got that right. All right, so now let's take a look at the overnight market news, because you have an overnight market, so therefore it only makes sense that you would have overnight market news to go with it. And we do. All right, here's what's going on today. A top Morgan Stanley strategist explains the risk to further U.S. stimulus, but expects lawmakers to reach a deal. Now, Michael Ziza says lawmakers, now that's something that never happens, is a phone call when I'm on my live, especially from an unregistered number. And then when you pick the phone up, they're speaking in a foreign language, trying to steal your data. All right, so Michael Ziza says lawmakers may have to return to the table as Trump's measures may not achieve intended relief in the short term. All right, and Wirecard, the fintech behind a $2 billion accounting scandal, leaves the DAX by August the 21st after a new rule kicks in. German stock operator Deutsche Börse said that insolvent firms have 2 days' notice to leave the blue chip DAX index from August the 19th. A renowned economist breaks down what the Kamala Harris VP pick means for markets. Alison Schrager said that Joe Biden's picking Kamala Harris was a predictable move and that markets seemed comfortable with her on the ballot. We'll definitely be talking about that a little bit later as well. If Congress can't reach an agreement by Friday, Americans probably won't see a second stimulus check until September at the earliest. The IRS is better positioned to send stimulus checks in August than it was in April, a union representative said. Former hedge fund titan Michael Novogratz breaks down 4 reasons why Bitcoin is heading to 20,000 by year end. You're cautious to be that bullish publicly, but I haven't seen things line up as well in a long time, said Michael. Well, where have you been, Michael? I haven't even heard of your name before. So why are they quoting you? You obviously do not know what you're talking about, because when Bitcoin was at 3,000, I didn't hear you making no noise. Johnny come lately. The CEO of a $815 million ETF provider explains how to build the perfect portfolio for today's market using just 3 low-cost funds. Notice the key phrase there was low cost, but there's still a cost. Noah Hammond of AdvisorShare said investors could build a strong and diversified foundation for themselves with just 3 ETFs. I hope you have an inverse ETF in that mix, sir. A 50-year gold vet and co-creator of its largest ETF shared 2 strategies investors should be using now amid the rise to new highs, and told us why his bull case scenario hasn't yet come to pass. I'm definitely leaning to the optimistic side, and I'm not expecting to see the bear case come to pass, says State Street's George Milling Stanley. Is that interesting or not? Global stocks are mixed. In Europe, Germany's DAX fell 0.2%, Britain's FTSE 100 fell 1%, and the Euro Stoxx 50 fell 0.2%. In Asia, China's Shanghai Composite and Hong Kong's Hang Seng were about flat. Japan's Nikkei rose 1.7% at the close. In the U.S., as you already know, the Dow, S&P, NASDAQ, and the Russell are pretty much flat. Earnings expected today. Mitsubishi, Swisscom, Carlsberg, and Fujifilm are the highlights. And on the docket, we got the initial weekly jobless claims that came out at 8:30. And now we got the U.S. 4-week bill auction and the 30-year bond auction are due. All right, so that's our little snippety on what's happening with the overnight market news. Now we got some other things that we need to get into. First of all, you know that the jobless numbers did come out this morning at 8:30. All right, so there was no guessing there what was going to happen. For the first time since this whole pandemic and since the lockdowns, for the first time, you got the jobless numbers coming in for the first time ever below a million. Yep, below a million, right? So after the big job numbers we got, initial jobless claims fall below 1 million for the first time in 21 weeks. But still, we got 963,000 Americans filed for the first time jobless benefits last week. Okay, so it's not a million, but it's still a million. Hilarious, man. And believe it or not, the market is concerned about stimulus. That's what they're saying. They're blaming the pullback in equity prices as concerns over the stimulus stalemate continue to grow. So people are getting a little worried about that. Okay. But again, those are things we got to deal with. Now, here's something else that happened while I was away. Again, when the cat is away, the mice shall play. And play they did. We got the triple inverse. Nat gas ETN went berserk and exploded by $10,000 in a matter of minutes. The ticker is the DGAZF, and it was trading at $22,890 a share. All right. And that's funny because if you look at the nat gas futures, they were down just over 2%. All right, when that happened. And nat gas, it's one of those story markets. All right, so again, the 3x inverse nat gas ETN just went absolutely bananas. That's why it's called the Widowmaker market. And here this is. Okay, so it was a $12,000 plus surge in the price. And definitely something was really broken in that ETF because they're designed to track the futures tick for tick times 3, not tick for tick times 30,000. All right. Now, in the prior 3 days, actually make it 4 days now, it has been extremely chaotic with manic runs like this driven by high frequency trading algorithms. Again, this is what you get in thinly traded markets. Then on Tuesday, they saw a major ask spike in the middle of the day, but no trade at that level. All right, that's that phony shadowing that they do. Those phantom trades. It's a trick that the algos do to, with the fake bids and asks to make the market move up or down. Now, all the moves were on tiny microscopic volume and so that kind of suggests that this was not Robinhood's, all right, or retail, any kind of retail spec. This was the big high frequency trading bots. Now, as Bloomberg's ETF analyst James Seifert noted, Credit Suisse may need to consider shuttering the DGAZF after pricing broke down and the exchange traded note closed with a 645% premium to net asset value. And it traded as much as 3,900% above NAV because market makers lack the ability to create new shares to meet demand. So looks like we're going to need a better market to trade on the nat gas if you're looking at the equity side. Again, people want leverage. They want too much leverage. You would have been better off, like I've stated in the past, instead of being greedy, man, just trade the UNG. I know it's cheap, but if you want leverage, just trade more shares. It's cheap enough to do that. Why go in there and mess around with these 3x ETFs? I told you, they deliberately broke the 3x ETF market. across the board. And that happened during the whole lockdown crisis. That destroyed the 3X ETFs. It did it in the stock indexes. It did it in crude oil. Now they're breaking it in nat gas. Everywhere you turn, every market you look at, the 3x ETFs are broken. All right. And it takes a long time to fix them, if ever, as well as the number one, so far, the number one ETFs that go bust and go away are the 3X ETFs. You ain't never hear no talk about the Spider going away, the SPY, the QQQ, or the IWM for the Russell. You never heard about them talking about taking those off the board. And you won't, because those are very well managed. All right. And they got excellent liquidity and good volume where you can get in and out of the market whenever you need to. We just had this conversation, a couple of days ago. I was telling you guys about the importance of liquidity. All right. It's important. All right. You got to have it or you can't get in and out of the market. Now, think about the poor souls the other day when I was away that was short that inverse ETF, because some people like to short the short ETFs. Can you imagine what their day looked like when they woke up? Can you imagine? Can you imagine the surprise when their phone rings with a margin call saying, we need you to pony up $800,000, please? You'd be like, what? What are you talking about? Have you not seen the news, sir? Have you not checked your account? You were short the DGAS inverse ETF. It's a 3X ETF, sir. And it looks like the market is up now, trading at $68,000 per share, and you shorted it at $23. So we're going to need you to deposit about $800,000. That should do it if you get out by the close of the day. 800,000 will do it, and you can meet margin, but you still have to be out by the end of the day. If you do not meet the margin call and we allow you to hold it overnight, we're going to need you to deposit 2.5 million by tomorrow morning by 9 a.m. sharp. Can you handle that for us, please? We do accept major credit cards and we do take cashier's checks. That's the kind of phone call you'll be getting. And unfortunately, I used to be the one making those calls when I ran the trade desk. Yeah, those are some really unhappy calls when you had to call somebody and say, yeah, I'm going to need you to send some more money in. And they ain't got long. And if they don't, your job is to take them out of the market, even if it's at a loss. That's right. So I had to do that before. I had to bust people's trades, man. I had to take them up out of there. I had to pull it. All right. On a lighter note, the foolishness continues, ladies and gentlemen. The foolishness continues. Now, as you guys know, a lot of jurisdictions have made it mandatory that when you're outdoors, you got to wear a mask. And especially if you're going inside of a building, like a grocery store, whatever, you gotta be masked up, right? Well, how about this? How about being made mandatory to wear a mask during a virtual Zoom meeting? That's right, you heard me right. Mandatory to wear a mask during a virtual Zoom meeting. So are you trying to tell me now that the coronavirus is so paranormal and supernatural, it knows who's wearing a mask and who's not, and whoever is not wearing a mask will get infected? So now we need to rename the coronavirus the Santa Claus virus. Because like Santa, he knows when you've been naughty. He knows when you've been nice. So the coronavirus is now self-aware, and it is intimidating people who aren't wearing masks, and has decided that even doing a virtual video conference, you can get the coronavirus from your other participants if you're not masked up. If this isn't some fraganacle buffoonery, I don't know what is. But despite the deluge of data that continues to come in, indicating the coronavirus may not be the death sentence that the mainstream media has made it out to be, the sharp overreaction from those who can't help but be scared half to death of even their own shadow continues to march on. The latest example comes to us from the Wisconsin's Department of Natural Resources, who told its employees that effective August the 1st, they would have to wear a mask even for teleconferences. This is not made up. This is not fake news. This is a fact. Preston Cole of the DNR said in an email to employees, also wear your mask even if you are home to participate in a virtual meeting that involves being seen, such as the Zoom or another video conferencing platform, by non-DNR staff. Set the safety example, which shows you as a DNR public service employee care about the safety and the health of others. Governor Tony Evers had to put a mask order in place effective August the 1st that mandates masks ought to be worn whenever a person is in an enclosed space other than a private residence. DNR spokesperson Megan Sheridan told the Kansas City Star, by wearing a mask while video conferencing with the general public, we visually remind folks that masking is an important part of navigating the business of natural resources during this tumultuous time. Even the CDC doesn't recommend wearing a face mask while social distancing at home under most conditions. Sheridan concluded, justifying the idiotic policy. We ask staff to wear masks when on externally facing calls that, taken out of context, a screenshot of the staff person or high-ranking department official, if not properly attributed, could be misinterpreted to suggest that the state employees are not properly following the governor's directive. So what is the DNR more scared of? The virus or being caught not virtual signaling at the right time? Exactly. This is all bread and circus. And this was more circus than bread. Not only that, but it is ridiculous. It is foolishness. It is something wrong with the brain function capacity of our elected officials. I didn't want to believe it, but now they're starting to scare me because they are showing me that, yes, they are that mentally brain damaged. All right. So this is one big ritual that they're having you to participate in. And if you don't wear the mask, then you're showing you're not playing ball. And it's going to cost you. It could cost you your job. It could cost you the election and whatever else they want to throw at you. But yes, this is real. This is not fake. This actually is happening. Unbelievable. When will the ignorant foolishness stop? I don't think it's going to. I really don't. I do not think that it is going to happen. I think this is exactly what it is. And I think this is because they know that time is running out and that eventually people start to kick back. Okay? They start to kick back. And that's where we are right now. So now we don't have to listen to what the paid for sellout doctors said in front of the U.S. Supreme Court, because it turns out that one of them has some wacky beliefs about sex with demons causing reproductive disorders. What a relief. Now, we're not going to pretend that Dr. Stella Emanuel has said, don't just sound just a little crazy, but they actually are saying these things in public. Now, someone says something that contradicts the dominant narrative. Now, in this case, the narrative about medical science, and the machine that supports that narrative goes into overdrive to discredit them. with whatever information they can dig up, as long as it doesn't involve discussing the actual substance of what the person has said. All right. So for everyone who is satisfied with the fringe doctors promoting hydrochloroquine also believe demon sex causes fibroids, that's the narrative. They have to try to discredit the person because they can't discredit the message. So you attack the messenger. All right. So the alcoholic wino drunk in the alley who says, "Hey, young man, don't go in that building. It's on fire." And you look and you see that the building is on fire, but you say, "I'm not going to listen to you because you're a drunk. You're in the alley. Why should I listen to you?" Well, because that drunk in the alley just told you a fact that is a truth, that the building is on fire. So if you discredit him and go in the building anyway and you burn up, then that's on you. But that's what we're doing right now. That's where we are, ladies and gentlemen. All right? This is where we are. Okay? So we all know that the mainstream media and its paid off professional doctors have already been discredited by their fake science. So what do they have to do now? They have to attack any and everyone that is speaking truth. So what the America's Frontline Doctors Group have to say? Well, what follows is a brief summary of the key points made by the group American Frontline Doctors at their press conference last week. All right, peep it. Number one, they believe that hydrochloroquine is an effective treatment for COVID-19. This is the claim made by several of the speakers, including Dr. Emanuel, based on their own clinical experience, as well as on multiple published studies. Many of those studies are listed. Number two, state licensing boards are using their power to forcibly prevent people from having access to this drug. According to Dr. Gold, many states have empowered their pharmacists to not honor prescriptions for hydrochloroquine to be used in treating COVID-19. This, she says, is unprecedented. It has never happened that a state has threatened a doctor for prescribing a universally accepted, safe, generic, cheap drug off label. Meanwhile, says Gold, the drug is available over the counter in many other countries, including Iran and Indonesia, where it can be found in the vitamin section. There is a coordinated campaign to discredit and suppress information about the drug hydrochloroquine as a possible treatment for COVID-19. If it seems like there is an orchestrated attack going on against hydrochloroquine, said Dr. James Todaro, it's because there is. Dr. Todaro is speaking from experience. He was the co-author of a March 13 white paper arguing for the use of hydrochloroquine against COVID-19. The paper was made public on Google Docs, received a lot of attention, and was then removed without warning by Google. It has since been put back up. The World Health Organization halted its trials of hydrochloroquine based on a blatantly fraudulent study that relied on data that it appears have never existed. Again, based on data that appears never even existed. Bear in mind that this is the authority upon which YouTube CEO Susan Wojcicki has said she bases her company's policy on misinformation. The WHO later resumed trials after independent investigators discovered the problem, and the study's authors retracted it. Next, we should be able to have a free and open discussion about this. Dr. Joseph Lapido from UCLA sums it up like this, quote, "We've been using hydrochloroquine for a long time, but all of a sudden, it's been escalated to this area of looking like some poisonous drug that just doesn't make sense. At the very least, we can live in a world where there are differences of opinion about the effectiveness of hydrochloroquine, but still allow more data to come. still allow physicians who feel they have expertise with it to use that medication and still, talk and learn and get better at helping people with COVID-19, end quote. So the question should be, why the all-out media assault on the frontline doctors? Well, the influence the pharmaceutical industrial complex wields over media outlets is no secret. As of 2018, an estimated 70% of all news advertising in the U.S. came from pharmaceutical companies. All right. There are even published documentations and reporting on medical issues that can be difficult to distinguish from outright marketing for drug companies. Social media platforms are not immune to this influence, whether it comes via advertising dollars, partnerships, such as that seen between the CDC Foundation and MailChimp, which, like many other platforms, has an explicit policy of censoring content about vaccines that does not align with the position of the CDC and the WHO. Oh, there's also direct investment, such as that of Google's parent company, Alphabet, or indeed at the behest of the politicians such as Congressman Adam Schiff, who last year wrote to the CEOs of Amazon, Facebook, and Google, requesting that those companies censor information and products that did not conform to the officially sanctioned position on vaccines. All three complied. There you go. So Congressman Adam Schiff, wrote a letter to those three behemoth companies, and all three of them complied. Do you think the same result would have happened if you or I wrote a letter to those three companies and asked them to do that? That they would have done that? No. So there's a lot more to the story behind the scenes that you and I are just not privy to. So it should come as small surprise that both Google and YouTube have now taken to removing content supportive of hydrochloroquine, a drug that is no longer covered by patent and can be made and sold by any generic producer for a fraction of the price that Gilead, for example, might charge for its still patented, remdesivir? Never heard of it. Twitter and Facebook have likewise removed posts about the drug, most notably, and with no visible sense of irony, removing posts of the video in which the frontline doctors speak out about widespread media censorship of the topic. You can now see those videos on BitChute. It should be noted that BitChute and Band.TV, places like that, that's where people are going to post information, since the mainstream media outlets have been censoring, building up big concrete walls around truth. One need not have an opinion on the merits of the drug hydrochloroquine in order to recognize that something very odd is happening here. Something that doesn't seem to have anything to do with free and open inquiry or honest scientific discourse. You know that because people have spoken out, even senators have said that they got the COVID and the hydrochloroquine saved their life. They were dying. They weren't going to make it. And then they switched and something remarkable happened. And I think you all know what that is. They got better. They got healed. Okay? It's sad. This is where we are, you guys. And I think you don't even need to understand anymore. Okay? Here it is. You're looking at a situation where hydrochloroquine is now, the patent has expired. So that means that the big drug manufacturers can't make the kind of money they would like to make off of it. So here's what they do. They say, let's all out assault this drug and everything that has to do with it so that we can push the agenda that we need a vaccine. That way they can make trillions of dollars off the vaccine, break the government off their piece, and keep it pushing. Now, you know that it's nefarious when they tell pharmacies not to fill those prescriptions when they come in. Now, first of all, I want you to think about this for a second. They're using the state licensing board to threaten the pharmacists that if they do fill these prescriptions, they could have their licenses revoked. It's one thing to suggest not to fill a prescription, but it's another thing to threaten with sanctions on top of that, or have you lose your livelihood and your license to practice medicine or to administer prescriptions. So that's how you know that there's a problem. Is hydrochloroquine killing people? Is this like all those other drug situations? People took drugs and died and got crippled and maimed. Is that what you're hearing? No, that has not happened. So then why the assault? Because they want to make money. This is about money, but it's also about death. You see, if they know that there is a viable treatment out there that can save people over 90% of the time, guess what? They don't want that to happen because this is not about life. This is about death. They get to kill two birds with one stone. They get to say, oh, by the way, let's let more people die who could have been saved, especially the elderly. They want to get the elderly up out of here. And then the next thing is, okay, once we are ready with a vaccine, you've also given us the okay that we don't have to go through the normal channels of animal trials, because that's what they're doing. In case you didn't know, they're skipping animal trials. There will be no animal trials. They're just going to rush it to market, and that's it. All right? Which is dangerous. The U.S. used to make fun of other countries for doing that. For saying, see, they're not safe like we are. We have a whole lot of red tape and bureaucracy before you can get a drug to market. That was the U.S.'s stance. That was their biggest sell, saying because of all the bureaucracy that equaled safety, which was a lie. They had the bureaucracy there because there is a big boss, like in a video game. The FDA is the big boss that you have to get around. And the only way to get around the big boss is to break them off tens of millions of dollars if you want to get your drug approved. That's why it costs so much money. It doesn't cost tens of millions of dollars to get something approved by the federal government, which is supposed to be not for profit. So where's the money going? Who's getting broke off? Where's all the money going? Why should you have to pay the FDA to get a drug approved? If they're a government body, they work for the people. You're a government employee. You work for the people. The FDA is part of the federal government, not a private company. Therefore, your job should be making sure that stuff is safe and it's good to go. Not, okay, you got to pay the FDA a $30 million fee to get your stuff approved. That is foolishness. Now, I understand that these pharmaceutical companies have to spend that much money to manufacture a drug and do all the testing and stuff, but to then have to pay tens of millions of dollars more to the FDA is a joke. Then not only that, but you got conflict of interest because the top people at the FDA used to work for the pharmaceutical industrial complex. All right, so where's the irony in that? Okay, so this is just a bunch of fraud and conspiracy, not to mention shadiness. This outright shadiness. This is corruption, you guys. The corruption starts from the top. And this is where we are today. We're looking at corruption. Why do you think a lot of the pharmaceutical stocks have been rallying? Because it's a race to see who can come out with the vaccine first and get the patent. That's why. It's just ridiculous. This is where we are, people. They're already have pretty much destroyed the economy. Now they want to destroy health. Now, there's some things happening that you guys are probably not privy to. So I'm going to break it down for you real quick. So we made history, right? Biden picks Harris to be his running mate. The biracial Black Latino woman. What you don't know is all of the circus surrounding this issue. Okay, so let's go back to the 2016 election. Hillary Clinton thought that she won the election and should have been the president. When that didn't happen, she had a temper tantrum. She threw a fit, tried to have votes recounted and all the other stuff that they normally do. Then that didn't work. That failed. All right, that still failed. Could not overturn the votes. So then they go to plan B. What's plan B? I know. Let's manufacture some dirt on the president to get him impeached, get him up out of there. And that right there is a two-edged sword for us, because even if we fail to get him impeached, it's a black mark that he gets on this record. All right. So it'll make it harder for him to get elected the next time going around. Because then we can just bring up, do you really want an impeached president? So they managed to impeach him on their level. But of course, by the time it got to Congress and Senate and the House, that was a whole different story. So they failed to get him out of office. All they did was partially impeach him like they did Clinton. So they gave him that scarlet letter, right? So they gave him that. Then when that failed, they said, okay, you know what? We're going to have to go scorched earth now. We got to go scorched earth because we couldn't overturn the election. We failed there. We failed to get him impeached. There's nothing else we can do. We cannot beat this man. We cannot beat him in an election. We will lose. So what did they do? They said, okay, we're going to say that he colluded with the Russians, with China, with Iran, Bugs Bunny, Daffy Duck, even Barney. We're going to say that he hired all those characters to rig the election, and that should be able to get him impeached and get him up out of office and even arrested. That failed. So they've been failing at every turn. Democrats failing at every turn to get him up out of there. So they said, okay, what can we do now? And they said, okay, let's have a meeting. So they had a nice little Bilderberg meeting about it. And they said, okay, so let's look at what we're dealing with. We're dealing with a president whose strongest point for re-election is the economy. We can't do anything about that. There's nothing we can do. The only way to beat him is if we can figure out some way to take the economy away from him. So then that's when they came up and hatched this ingenious plan called COVID-19. And they said, this is what we're going to do. We want, and the power behind the power, that machine was turned on. Whenever the invisible machine is turned on, whenever the king's hand is activated, that's when you start seeing all the weirdness happen, and you start seeing them flexing their power. You start seeing the machine working. It's the same machine that you've seen work during the Kennedy assassination. It's the same machine you saw working during 9/11. It was the same machine you saw working during 2008 financial crisis. It's the same machine over and over again that you've seen working. It's a powerful machine. The machine is powerful because it incorporates every arm of the federal government, especially the FDA, the FCC, and the IRS. They turn all of these guns in your direction and they fire. They knew that that wasn't going to be enough. They had to come up with another plan. So they said, okay, we need something that can be ongoing and effective enough to make this work. And they figured it out. They said, we need a coordinated effort. Who do we have? Okay, well, we're going to use the same people we used to help get Obama in the office. And do you remember what part of the machine they used to get Obama in office? Does anyone remember? All right, here we go. Here we go. What we had working was the crude oil market. All right, this is the first time you saw them manipulate the crude oil market to a political end. They made sure the crude oil market ran up the entire summer, which would hurt the Republicans. Then, once it was a shoo-in that Obama was going to get it, that's when they let the price go. And immediately it fell all the way down below $40 a barrel. It went from almost going to 200 down to 40. All right, they let it go. But this time around, it's different. They say, we got to do something. So here's what they did. They created another crude oil crisis, just like they did in 2008. Notice how the crude oil crisis has been proven to be an effective tool during election time. All right, when there's a 4-year election coming up, that crude oil comes into play. So they used the crude oil against the Republicans in 2008 to get Obama elected. Now they did it again this year, but this time they're doing it to get, whoever they decide is going to be the running people for the Democrats. And now they decide it's going to be Harris and Biden. So now this is going to help Harris and Biden. So they had the crude oil market to fall apart this time. Instead of running it up, they ran it the other way. They said, let's try something even more egregious that's going to really shock people. Let's shock everyone. Let's scare everyone to death and let them know that this is what you can expect to happen and keep happening if this man stays in office. But here's the funny thing, though. When that happened, it didn't work. It actually gave Trump a little bit more of an edge. So they said, okay, we got to do something else, man. We got to. That's when they said, okay, you know what? We're going to have to lock down the economy. We're going to have to physically shut down the economy. If we shut down the economy, we will bankrupt the United States and everybody in it. Now, the government's like, hey, we got infinite power. We can do whatever we want. But the man on the street is going to be devastated, knocked off his feet, land on his back with the wind out of him. This will help. This will do it. Because that's all Trump has is he's bragging about the economy. He's bragging about the stock market. If we hurt the stock market and take away the bragging points with the employment, then we can run them up out of there. So that's what they've been doing. Now, the first lockdown was pretty devastating. But they say, no, that's not enough. We need more. That's why they're threatening for a quote-unquote second wave of the virus and a second lockdown. And they even have their mainstream media working overtime to push that narrative as well. Okay? So it's funny that we're seeing the same apparatus go over and over and over. Okay? Now, before you think elsewise, I am not a Trump supporter. I am neither a Democrat nor a Republican. I'm an independent. I believe that there's really no such thing as Democrat or Republican. I believe that they are all one of the same, like I gave you the scenario before. It's one football team with two different jerseys on during scrimmage when they're practicing. For an uninitiated person, if they were just to walk by and see that, they'd be, oh, what teams are playing? They wouldn't know that it's the same team. They just have on different jerseys for practice purposes. They're on the practice field. But to the uninitiated, it looks like it's two different teams. It's not two different teams. It's one team. And they're all striving toward the same goal, even though it has the appearance that the red jersey team is trying to prevent the blue jersey team from hitting to the goal line. It's actually the opposite. By them working against them visually, this like you see on the field, it's actually helping both teams. So the practice is benefiting both teams because both teams on the practice field is really one team with two different jerseys on. All right. And I've explained that before. Okay. So I am not a Trump supporter. I am not Republican. I am not a Democrat. I'm an independent. All right. So I just want to get that out the way because I know people, oh, here's another person, pulling for Trump. I am not pulling for Trump. I am not pulling for him or any other Democrat. I'm just explaining to you what the game is so you can understand it. All right. I know what I'm talking about. I've been on YouTube for over a decade now, and all of my market calls are here. All right. They're on my YouTube page. I haven't taken any of them down. So I obviously know what I am talking about. All right. And if you don't believe me, then go to PulseWaveTrading.com and sign up and see for yourself. All right. So this is what's up. All right. I am not playing around here. I'm trying to help you guys out, man, so you can see what's coming. They're playing you. All right. Again, but they're doing a wonderful job. They're really making you think that the Republicans and the Democrats hate each other. Every time you turn the TV on, they're bashing Trump, and they're supposed to. And the reason why they're doing it is because they don't really want you to vote for them. They want you to vote for the Democrats. All right. It's a really good script that they use. It worked for Obama too. It worked to a T. They was like, get them Republicans up out of here. And that's what's going on here now. Remember, at the end of the day, the Democrats and Republicans all work together. Just look at the track record. Every anti-constitutional law, precept, principle, statute, presidential order, whatever, that took away more and more of your constitutional rights have been done under both administrations, Democrat and Republican. It doesn't matter who gets in. Their job is to push forward the agenda. If you don't believe me, then why did Obama push forward every single last one of Bush's policies that he did not get a chance to push forward? Go look it up. Why did he push forward everything that Obama couldn't finish? Case in point, NDAA came up again. Guess what Trump did? He said, let her rip. He didn't say, nah, let's do away with that. Nah, he didn't say, let's do away with that. He did not. He did not. Think about it. And the only reason why it made it seem like, oh, he's going to get rid of that Obamacare, that was put there for two purposes. The Obamacare was to give you the bread and circus that you were craving, right? But also, it was never intended to work or last. Here's the proof. Trump knew that when he got in office. So the first thing he did was to say, okay, we're doing away with the Obamacare. Made people really hate him for doing that, right? I want you to think about the consequences, ramifications, and repercussions, though, if Trump would have let the Obamacare thing ride. Every single American right now would be in even more trouble than they are right now. It would have been impossible for them to send y'all them checks and to extend everything else because you would be deficit, because you wouldn't have the money. Everyone would have lost all their health care. Look at the 50, 60 million jobs that just vanished in thin air. You would still be on the hook for that insurance, idiot. Think about that. $4,000 penalty for not having insurance. Did you think about that? They knew what they were doing. They knew what they were doing. All this is a script. It is a soap opera to deceive you. Now let's move on. Hillary, she failed. One of the reasons why Hillary failed is because everyone could see right through the facade. They said, Hillary, baby, you know we love you, girl. But let's be honest, girl. You're not right. You're sick. You need to be in a nursing home somewhere. You need to be getting some kind of medical care because your illness is really starting to ravage and it's starting to be visible on camera. No one's going to put you in office, baby. Okay? We love you though, all right? But it's not going to happen. It's just not going to happen for you. I know you want to be president. And you know what? If this was, 30 years ago, then it could have probably happened for you. But I'm sorry, we're gonna need you to take a back seat on this one, baby. Okay. But we're gonna do this for you though, because we know that you're passionate about that, the feminist agenda. We got you. What did they do? They found, created, what's the word I'm looking for? Groomed the new improved Hillary 2.0. Who is Hillary 2.0? Miss Harris. Miss Harris is Hillary 2.0. They finally created and found a female candidate that could beat just about any man that they run up against. They kill 10 birds with one stone. She's a female. She is a minority because she's biracial, black, and Hispanic. And she's feminist. She is Oprah 2.0, Hillary 2.0. She will be the one to carry the feminist agenda forward. And in case you weren't really paying attention, she is not his running mate. She is not Biden's running mate. That is not the agenda. She is not going to be somebody's vice president. That's not the purpose. She will be vice president, but that's not the purpose. The purpose is to get her in the presidential chair. This is the new Clinton. She's going to ride with Biden, but that's not the purpose. Biden will not see 2 terms. Instead, he's going to bow out, and she is going to become president, the first female president. All right? There you go. There you go. All right? So I'm just saying, open your eyes and do the knowledge to this. Peep the science behind what's happening. All right? Because all this is science. There's a science behind all of this. Every single piece that you're seeing is part of a bigger puzzle, and there is a science behind it. Okay? She is the first female president. That's what they want. I would not even be surprised that if they say, okay, Biden, thank you for taking her all the way, but now we need you to go on vacation. He may not even finish his term because he needs to be inpatient care right next to Hillary. Everybody knows he has Alzheimer's, but they don't care. It's not about him. It's about getting Trump out of office. It's about making sure that the American people push for and vote for a Democratic candidate. This is a powerful weapon that they've created. You got the destruction of the economy, so they take that power away from Trump. Then you're bringing in a female who is also a feminist, who is also a minority, and who is also ready to push forward the agenda. What is the agenda, you may ask? Communism. They knew that they needed to change the wording, so they found another wording, socialist. Socialist sounds so much better than communist. So they say socialist, socialist. That's the word they're pushing at you. Socialism, socialism, socialism. Socialism does not exist. It's just communist, and that's it. Communist. This is communist. This is communism that they want to push. And they actually have people on board pushing for it. All of your American universities are pushing and re-educating the young people to crave and want communism. They're giving you a communist ideology, and they've been pushing for this agenda for a while now. All right? Marxist communist ideology. This is what they want for you. And they're making you want it too. How do they do that? It's a us, them mentality, siege mentality. Who's the us? The evil 1%. Who's the we? Everybody else. So they say, okay, the Republicans are the 1%. Get them up out of here. Power to the people. Get the Democrats in here. not knowing that the Democrats and the Republicans are the same, not knowing that the same people backing the Republicans are also backing the Democrats. All right, just understand that. Just get that through your minds real quick. So you're looking at one side of a two-headed coin. It's either heads or heads. There's no heads and tails. It's heads or heads. It's all one organization. So you've been duped. And this is all being put together because they want to make her the first president. Female president, feminism. This is the age of Semiramis. All right? Age of the woman. The age of man is over. Now is the age of the orc. And the orc is represented by the woman. This is the age of Semiramis. All right? You need to understand this. The age of Semiramis, the age of Athena. This is what's going on. Okay? You need to understand it. The rise of the woman. All right? The rise of the woman. They want to do away, and they've already told you that, they want to do away with the patriarchal system. They want to turn it on its head. They want to change customs, times, and laws. They want to rename and redefine common words. They're making good bad and bad good. They're doing all types of spell casting on the American public in ways that they don't even realize is happening. But they already got you, because they've already got you to change your speech patterns. You don't even talk the same way anymore. And if you are bold enough to continue to be yourself, you're going to be ostracized, and you're going to face all types of peer pressure to do so. And what you guys don't understand is the terminology that they give you is not the real definition of it. They give you the definition they want you to have, but that's not what they really mean. Case in point, they're saying we want to do away with the patriarchy. Now, your definition of that is, male dominant, man being the head, right? The traditional. But where are they getting these? Where did that idea come from? Biblical precepts. They want to do away. They're telling you it's not the patriarchy they want to do away with. They want to do away with Christ. They want to do away with Jesus Christ. They want to do away with the Bible, biblical precepts, biblical principles. They want to redefine everything. They want to redefine marriage. They want to redefine relationships. They even want to redefine the human being, telling you that there's an infinity of genders. All right? Changing the definition of the word gender. That's what they want to do. So they're changing times, words, laws, customs, precepts, principles, language. They want to redefine everything in their favor. And then at the same time, they're pushing equality, 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 equality. And you think that equality means equality. Equality does not mean equality. No, it doesn't. For you, it means one thing. For them, it means another. It means that they are equally in agreement that you will be under their authority. That is the equality they're talking about. All right? This is where we are. They want to bring about a fascistic dictatorial regime. They want to make America one big giant prison and keep you in it. You think it's cool because there are all the things that the talking points are making it sound cool. They've learned to make Marxism sound cool. They've learned to make communism sound cool. But do you recall in the 1950s, the whole fear of communism and the black letters and all that? Remember anyone who they even suspected was a communist? I don't care if you were an actor, an actress, a government worker, didn't matter. It was the modern day witch trials. Anyone who was suspected of being a communist had their lives turned upside down. We're talking about loss of income, loss of reputation, loss of lifestyle. Some people were thrown into prison, all types of stuff. It was the big red scare. Oh no, so and so's a communist. Now, here we are in the 21st century saying, you know what? Communism isn't so bad after all. Why do you think they keep talking about China in glowing language? Oh, they got it right. Oh, they locked down their internet. Oh, their people can't do nothing. Oh, they got a big bad police force and a military force that if anyone gets out of line, they'll know about and they'll come and check you. That's what they want, ladies and gentlemen. That's what they want. And unfortunately, because they have kicked God out of the American public space, they will be turned over to a totalitarian system. God is going to turn them over and let them follow their lusts and their lies to its logical end. And that logical end will be the end of America. Not the end of America as you know it, but the end of America, period. I keep warning you and telling you that America is on its way out, and they know it. That's why they keep feeding you the lies and the bread and the circus, because they know it's on its way out. I don't know what else I can do. I've been warning everybody. I've been telling you what you need to do. You think these people love you. You're looking to government to take care of you. They got you pushing for basic universal income. They got you pushing for more stimulus checks coming from the government. All of the boo-hooing and crying people have been doing over the militarization of our police, but yet you're begging for more police. A vote for communism is a vote for more police. A vote for communism is a vote for fascism. A vote for communism is a vote for a totalitarian regime. And you're begging for it. They just changed the wording to socialist to make it sound better. But understand, in a socialist system, you don't own anything. You do not have the right to own your own business. You do not have the right to make any money. If you do make money in excess of the money that they want you to have, the government will take it from you. Do you understand that? No one is an entrepreneur under a communist system. Everyone is a slave of the state. Why do you think they put nets up in the sweatshops in China? Because some people say, I can't take it anymore. They say the only way out is to commit suicide. So they put these nets out there. So if you jump out the window or jump off the roof, you're not going to die. You're just going to go right back to work. Yeah, that's what this is. They got people looking for a way out. They say, the only way for me to be out of here is this death, and they won't even let you die. No, they need you for the sweatshops. So China is going to switch from being the world's sweatshop to the U.S. being the world's sweatshop. And that's what you people say you want. And that's what you're going to get. So what you really should be thinking about right now is not bugging out. It's not even prepping. What you should be thinking about is, are you right with God? Because from where this is going to go, I can't even put it into words what you're about to see. It's going to be so ugly and so shocking to most people. The only thing that I can do is what I'm doing, warning people, trying to educate people as much as possible. And I know I'm talking to a stiff-necked generation. I know I'm talking to people who don't want to hear it. But what are you going to do when there are no jobs left and the only money you got is what the government gives you? And now everyone is poor. Not just some people, but everyone is poor. Now what? The only way that you can get around that is building up a sizable nest egg so that you don't have to be beholden to being the government's surf. The best way I know how to do that is by trading these markets. And when I say trading, I'm not saying investing. I'm saying make money, learn to make money when the market's going up, learn to make money when the market's going down. That is all I can do for you. I can't do anything else. There's nothing else I can do for you. Seriously, this is just it's the best I can do. I'm leading you to the water. I can't make you drink it. I come on here every day. I do this every day. Think I do it for fun? You think I do it because I like to hear myself talk? No, I'm trying to help as many people as I can. I don't want to have to be one of those people on Oprah's couch and at the end of it saying, so what did you do to help people? You knew all this. You saw all this stuff coming when no one else did. What did you do to help? Did you try to help anybody? Did you warn anybody? What did you do to help people? Picketing and protesting is not going to help it. Looting is not going to help either. We're too far gone for any of that. The only thing you can do right now is to take care of you and yours, and you're going to need money to do that. You're going to need money. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter. You're going to need to eat. Do you want to be beholden to the rations that the government is going to hand out to you? Let me just let you know right now, that government cheese is nasty. And it doesn't melt no matter how long you cook it or how long you put it and zap it in the microwave. The cheese don't melt. And that's what you want to eat? Huh? I'm telling you, man. I don't know what else to tell you. I don't know what else to tell you. Markets are here, man. I don't know what to tell you. Did you miss this big run up in the markets? Did you not take anything off the table? Did you miss Bitcoin popping? No, let me guess. You got in and then got stopped out late. You caught the last leg of the rally and got stopped out. Didn't make nothing. And you missed a short. Oh, you didn't buy the NASDAQ all this time because you were afraid. So you missed the run. Or you one of them people that took the last trade and got stopped out and was like, this doesn't work. All right. You don't want to be those people. You want to do this the right way. My man Santana got a good question here in the live chat. Yeah, but don't you think they're going to take all your trading account you think they're going to let the normal guy trade stocks in the market? Now, see, that's not their issue, and they don't care about that. That's not the issue. The issue is their program. And as long as that's running smoothly, they don't give a darn about all that other stuff. They can't prevent you from accessing the markets without preventing themselves from accessing the market. And they will never do that to themselves. The market belongs to them. They keep the people ignorant of the market and scared of the market, afraid of the market. Because from time to time, they do whack stuff in the market that scares people away. But no, they can't stop you because then they'll be cutting off their own nose just to spite their face. They can't do that. They don't want to prevent you from accessing the market. They know that you won't because they zapped you enough time. Just like the cattle, though, you don't have to put up a fence because you electrocuted them so much that now they are even afraid to go outside of the bounds. Elephants are that way too. If you take away the fence after they've learned the hard lesson, you ain't got to worry about it no more. They're not going nowhere. And that's what they've done to everybody. Look at all of the crashes this market has had just since the 80s. You had the crash of 87. You had the crash of 2000. You had the crash of 08. You had the crash of 2020. As long as that keeps happening, people are going to be shook to death. And they're going to watch all the wealth pass them by. No one will have an excuse at the end of the day. But they're going to look at you and say, well, didn't you watch the news? Didn't you see the NASDAQ ran up 10,000 points in a year? Why didn't you invest in some tech stocks? Well, because I saw all those people lose money and I was scared. And they're going to be like, oh well. Don't blame Robin Hood when you po and looking silly. Because you're gonna be like, well, I can't have no money to buy no stocks. Yeah, but you got money to buy those Jordans though. You can buy shares of stock. Yeah, you can buy one share of stock. You don't have to buy 100 shares of stock. And forget that, you can trade micro forex, or you can trade cryptos. You ain't gotta. There's no excuse. 50 years ago there was an excuse because you needed all kinds of money to trade stocks. Now you don't need much at all. And micro forex didn't exist either, but now you can. With $500, you can start trading micro forex and in crypto. Yep. There are Jordans that cost more than that. So again, people do what they want to do. Instead of going to buy the new Xbox or the new PlayStation 5, you could fund a trading account and start learning how to extract money out of the financial markets on a regular basis. You see what I'm saying? It's where are your priorities? Most people's priorities are not there. They feel, well, I don't know anything about it, and so they just leave it at that. So just because you're ignorant of a subject, does that mean you have to stay ignorant of that subject? Especially if it's something that is beneficial and critical to your livelihood? So then what are you going to do? And especially if you have a family, you got spouse and children, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? It's not just about you anymore. What are you going to do? And if you don't, if you're single and you have no responsibilities whatsoever, you still got the responsibility of you. So you'd rather live in your car than get off your butt and come and make some money. All right, so the next question, do you think they're going to crash the economy before the election? If we go into another lockdown, the answer is yes. If we officially go into a countrywide lockdown like the first one, where everyone locks down every state in the union, well then yeah, that would be the final nail in the coffin, and that would absolutely destroy the economy. Yes. Yep. So just saying, man, this is what it is, dude. You do what you can, you be vigilant until you can no longer. Because at the end of the day, no one knows the future. We can only ascertain based on the limited knowledge that we have right now. Right now, the knowledge that we have is limited. So we go by what we're seeing, but I would love to be wrong. I would love nothing more than to be wrong. All right. So this is what we do. Just like we say in the trade room, trade what you see, not what you think. Whatever the market is telling you, that's what you do. And then when the market is ready to change course, then you change course with it. It's just that simple. All right. So this may still be America, but it's the new America. It's the America where fascism, totalitarianism, and militarism go hand in hand. That's right. This is where we are, ladies and gentlemen. All right, so be encouraged, but this is a good time to start thinking about where you and the Lord are. If you're not born again, then you need to ask Jesus to save you, like right now. I have a suspicion, and I really do hope I'm wrong, but based on what I'm hearing and based on what I'm seeing, it's looking like they are going to release a more lethal version of this coronavirus in the fall. And this one could really be bad and really take people up out of here. All right. That's one of their agendas. They want to get people up out of here. So if they release one that affects children, that's game over right there. You don't even have to touch the adults at that point. The amount of carnage and chaos that would create is enough right then and there. But they probably won't stop there. They'll just make something so lethal, so potent that no one can stand a chance with it. And it just starts taking people out. So I don't put that past them. These guys are desperate to put their agenda forward. They want to, they're so proud of themselves from what they've been able to manage so far. They can't wait to see what else they can get away with and how much further they can push this. I do believe with all my heart that they want to push forward the next phase of the agenda. And that next phase does look exactly like a more lethal version of it. I've already heard the mainstream media start pushing and touting, speaking about the virus morphing into something else, something more deadly. They're already starting to talk about this, and they've seen signs of it in a few patients, blah, blah, blah. Okay? So understand, if we do get a second wave of this stuff, just like I told you in the beginning, this is a man-made thing, and it's being done to push forward their satanic agenda. All right? And you don't want to be caught up in it. Forewarned is forearmed. You can't say no one didn't tell you. You wish someone was around to tell you, because I just finished telling you. All right? So with that being said, remember, PulseWaveTrading.com. Come learn how to break bread with us. Bulls make money, bears make money, and pigs get slaughtered. So remember to take what you can and give nothing back. What that simply means is take whatever profit you can from these markets and don't give back your winning trades by turning them into losing trades. And I'm out. Peace.